Again, it's Sunday evening, everyone. Welcome. Uh, I had an opportunity last night, and I'll talk about it tomorrow evening. I had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Had a conversation. I was a guest speaker at the Sister Christmas event last night. I thought it was a powerful night. But I wanted to start this conversation today with you. Okay. I'm happy to be celebrating two beautiful people that I've encountered and joining this life with. A big brother, a father figure, Mr. Alexander Cummings, my girl yesterday, today, and for always. Um, Dr. Francine Richardson. Ooh, ooh. Yes, celebrating her birthday today. Both of them on the same day. What a day. And grandpa, which is her grandson, about 2 days ago. Mm? So it's like neck to neck. She's in Florida, lighting it up, getting her dance on, getting her mm, 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 mm. That's the old people dance. Mm, 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 mm. We gotta go tomorrow. But let's have a conversation. First, I'm going to acknowledge Mr. Alexander Cummings, one of the greatest Liberian businessmen ever walk. He didn't get to where he got to by bringing war to our country, forcing people, stealing from the Liberian people, but work in a very competitive environment to build himself up and deliver to the Liberian people. I'm going to just give you a glimpse of his journey, what was his role, how the war saw him. Okay. Some of you don't want to hear that. That's fine. But there's a saying that goes, you can learn from anybody. You can learn from people who are successful, how to be successful. You can learn from people who have failed and stood up, failed and stood up. There's a wise man that said, I found 1,000 ways that have not worked. He ended up being one of the greatest inventors in the world. Now you can go find out who that is. That's your thought for the day. But let me play this for all of us. Okay. Yep. I told you my timeline was today.
And now it's time for our third keynote speaker, who is a heavy hitter, a major heavy hitter, one of the most important corporate executives in the world. He is the Senior Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer of the Coca-Cola Company, which I'm sure you've all heard of. He is the former head of the Africa Group at Coca-Cola Company. Many functions report directly to his office, as in strategic planning, as in people functions, as in research and development. As the former head of the Africa Group, he has been traveling extensively in Africa. He's just told me that he's returned from Nairobi, from Lagos, from a trip to Johannesburg. So he's still very connected to the continent. He was born in Liberia and
Ooh.
is our third keynote speaker, Mr. Alex Cummings. Great honor to introduce him.
What a guy, right?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is a horrible slot, by the way, Hannah. At the end of the day, let me start with a Chinese proverb that says, "When the wind blows, some people build walls, and some people
Some
build
people build
windmills."
windmills. Yeah.
And I think everybody in this room here are going to build windmills, given the change happening in Africa. As I said earlier, this is a tough slot to be in, following Ashish this morning, whom I've heard of, like many of you didn't get to know, but he gives very good energy. Tough to follow him. Mrs. Alakija, tough to follow. And then the women's panel, I don't know who stayed here for that, but it's tough to follow a bunch of African women. The good news is that one of my homegirls was on the panel, Saran Kaba-Jones, who's sitting up here to give me moral support. So we've got all of our Nigerian brothers and sisters here. We are outnumbered, so. But it's good to be here. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to, my consolation for having this slot is the fact that I get to talk about Coca-Cola, which I like to do. And I also get to talk to a lot of young, smart,
people,
innovative
innovators,
Africans and Africanists. And I enjoy doing both of those things. My presentation is going to be very short. And then I'll open it up for questions and answers and comments and any suggestions you have about how we can make Coke even bigger and better. I'm all ears. So a few slides to take you through. In trying to get ready for this conversation, I came across this quote from
listen to that quote, Liberian people,
Rwanda.
young people especially.
And he tweeted it from Davos, apparently. And it says, the best thing we can do for ourselves is own our own problems, own our own solutions, and write our own stories.
I'm going to stop right there. The best thing we can do for ourselves as Africans, own our own problem, solve our own problem, and tell our own stories. Yes, I thought that was powerful. Maybe I need to show you again why it's just tall. The best thing we can do for ourselves as Africans, okay, is own our own problem, solve our own problem, and tell our own stories. It's right there. Okay? Yes. Okay. The best thing we can do for ourselves is own our own problems, own our own solution, and write our own stories. Okay? I will stop there, right here, and we're going to move on. That's it right there. Now, if you're here, thank you for being here. Please share the video. Today, I will be talking about what was promised and what is being delivered. Okay. When Liberia rise, when we get a leader that is Liberian centered, that is nationalistic, we will not have Mega Day, we will not have Green Day. Especially today on my timeline, I'm looking to say, folks, if you're over here, please share the video. Please follow us on Facebook. We're rebuilding our community. Okay. Sooner or later, we'll start offering. I'm actually looking at a few things. Okay. When Liberia rise, we won't have almost 400,000 young Liberians addicted to drugs, while a political party is building a headquarters while in power, who is in charge of all of the nation's money, the people's money. But our children are sleeping and bodies are being found on beaches and in the street. This is not to exaggerate. These are facts. Okay, I'm not going to come here and start posting there, but if some people used to ask me, I just put it in the inbox. No, the people that are buying, they're not auditors. They're not police chief. They're not army officers that are guiding the president. Okay, let me get folks. Why I come to this? Give me 1 second. I'm going to play this video for you while it's playing, and I'm going to go get my charger. Okay, this is what we're promised. This is the current president. This is what we're promised. This is just before the elections. Okay, there we go. 2023. Arise Africa. We have no copyright to this video.
The Liberian people have lived a long time with impunity. The Liberian people
Let me push this back so you hear
have suffered a lot, and they have a long time with impunity.
If you have dementia or are afraid,
I'm sorry, folks. For some reason, I'm getting a commercial, but that's fine. So let me go here. I'm not sure who on my timeline. Okay, somebody is on my timeline. I don't know who posted a dude on their timeline like shaking his backside like this. This is so annoying. All right, now we're gonna go back to pull this up. Y'all know these are other people video, they got commercial, so commercial will come on. Okay, I apologize for that particular commercial. So let's go ahead. Let's listen to the question from the journalist in Nigeria.
Win the election in 2023, you will, although your campaign slogan is AREST, are you going to add the other R and arrest people?
Other arrest people, guys.
That's a good question. The Liberian people have lived a long time with impunity. The Liberian people have suffered a lot, and they have a decision to make. The Liberian people would like to see justice. They like to see ill-gotten wealth restored, or people who got rich overnight to account. I don't think it's a bad thing for you to say, this is what I did and this is what I got out of what I have done. We continue to see a country that is without good roads, children without hope, but education, and people are getting rich overnight. I don't think it's a bad thing to ask them to say, how much did you earn in the period and how were you able to get what you have? I think that's what the Liberians would like to see, and that's what I would like to do.
But sir, I wanted you to talk about Madam Ellen Johnson.
Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is not my problem. Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and I worked. There's not a time we had any dispute. The decision she made is her decision. She knows why she did it. I'm not going to go into that.
Let's talk about your economic policy for Liberia. Under President George Weah, we've seen food prices rise and people unable to afford staple food in the country, and inflation rates have gone up. What are your plans to improve the lot of Liberians and to ensure that food prices come down so that the average Liberian can afford to eat and feed their family?
Well, I don't know where you come from with the information that food prices are affordable, because when Mr. Weah took power, we were told that rice price was going to come down to $500 a bag. $500 a bag, Liberian dollars, you compute at a rate of 150. Today, rice, they just announced, is over $17 US a bag. And you tell me, for people, most of whom are earning less than $100, I don't know how they can afford that, send their children to school and go. So it is not true that food price has come down. Life is very difficult in Liberia. I live there.
That's what I asked. I said that food prices have gone up.
Oh,
and people
okay,
have
I'm
complained.
sorry.
What are your plans to make
None of
the
our
lives
plans
of
are
this?
that. In fact, is to start with what Liberian people, touching the lives of the small people in agriculture. If 70 to 80% of the people depend on agriculture, I want to start with that, where I worked before, and I know that it was possible that at a time we were importing only about 30% of our staple food. And the potential is there. The soil is there. The farmers are there. All the cooperatives that we had that were working, none of them are functioning. Liberians, even the cocoa and coffee we used to export, there's no market for it. I have gone in the rural community and I've met Liberians. If you want to export your cocoa and coffee, you have to take it to Guinea because all the marketing channels that were set up, nobody has paid attention to them. We have to start giving the people hope from where they believe and what they know. And I know we are able and we have the potential to at least produce food to feed a country in a reasonable way.
As we start to wrap up, one thing quickly, and it was a good thing you talked about rice because we remember the famous Tolbert rice riots in the 70s and how it impacted on Liberia. But one thing real quickly, we saw the effect of Ebola, how it ravaged the healthcare sector in Liberia and also COVID. The healthcare sector in Liberia is at an all-time low. What are you going to do to ramp up the healthcare sector once again in Liberia?
No, that's why I talk about starting with sanitation,
This is Valerie.
where the people are able
I'm going to let this play
to
so it stays
have
here.
a preventive healthcare delivery system while we try to build the right infrastructure for curative medicine. The healthcare sector is deplorable because of the same sanitation, the lack of good drinking water. You go to Monrovia, most often the hospitals say typhoid. It starts with water, quality of water. I had said that I want to make sure that.
This is the quickest way to clear out.
I am sorry, folks. That is just that. Okay. Okay. All right, folks. So I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave that there because Omen Bwaka is literally telling us first they're going to clean the street. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Have you guys seen the place clean up? Are the street clean? Okay. How is it going to stop maternal mortality? What we saw happen during the Ebola, the city was still dirty. And this old man is telling us about the different cooperation. It's 2023 going to 2024. Okay. I mean, 2023 about to go to elections. Okay. When he was agriculture minister, most nations were not doing mechanized farming. Okay. It's the new age. Technology has improved. What was this war view of agriculture? And speaking about that, we're here now. He's the president. How much is there in the budget for agriculture? Does it reflect if this is his priority? How about healthcare? Does it reflect what he's talking about? Let's go back. Hopefully this is not still doing this. Okay. There's a few questions that you need to hear. These people asked this old man. We hear there is a group in Liberia. He said he was not part of the group. But the moment he got elected, when people were saying, oh, Bwakana, you must send it. Oh, Bwakana, you must send it. Ellen does not want him to be president because he's not in the Senate. Boom, he become president. Boom, he put out his jacket with his friends to show you that he has always been in the Senate. Let's continue and see. Things are not what it seems like, Liberians. We got to go beyond where you see what is before you. Let's go ahead here.
And all of these places of public use, keep them very much sanitary and give the people some feeling that they can live in a clean environment. The healthcare sector, the deal to, it is not that it is not on paper, it is there. It's a matter of affordability. It's a matter of even those that are giving healthcare services, they are not given the right incentives. And most of the people will prefer leaving the country, those who can afford. And we cannot afford that because most of the people cannot afford to leave.
Well, we have just about 2 minutes. There's a question I wanted to ask.
All right.
Many years back, I reviewed a book written on Liberia. And I know that in Liberia, there's an establishment, a very powerful establishment. I don't want to go into the details on TV, Where do you stand in relation to that establishment? And is it true, as alleged by your critics, that you are running a tribal ticket? Tribal, ethnic.
Oh no.
And you keep complaining about the Kongwa people.
If there's anybody I complain about the actions of people, the neglect of people, not about, I'm one of those persons who I can say I'm well integrated. I went to institutions that we mixed up well. The idea is I do not talk about people, I talk about actions of people. And I think there's a lot that is wrong in our society with respect to people rather than talking about people themselves. And I'm well.
So Liberian people, I want to tell you something. This is the behavior of a chameleon, okay? It changes with where you are, where you want to be. It can turn green, it can turn blue, it can turn to the sand, to the earth color. This is it. I'm sorry to say. But this old man is telling me he talks about people action. Yes, he is part of the establishment, the core group. I am saying that because I heard him say it. You've heard him say it. You heard him act it. You have heard him act it. His nephew is the Internal Affairs Minister, although he confessed. How does this old man tell us Liberia has suffered too long for impunity, but he appoints the head of the whole country, the Canis, his nephew, who confessed to being a killer of our people, who were caught raping a girl, and the woman went and laid a complaint, no investigation. A young girl, a baby, 14-year-old, was just taken advantage of by one of his minister, Deputy Minister Brian McGill. The first thing is, Coleman tells us, all right, he's looking for, they're getting DNA machine. We have not received a DNA machine yet. We're yet to receive DNA machine. Yet to get DNA machine. And the father of that child is all over the place, and the law does not work. Yes, there is a group. Now, let me continue. Folks, please share the video. If you come to my platform to look for attention, please go somewhere else. Okay, now, everything you just heard is a lie. Now, I want to go back to this old man, all right? Thank God for how you call him. We heard him when he spoke on 50-50. I will bring the little short video and make a clip and put it together. When he said, do you understand the language that is spoken in the country? Do you understand the plights of our people? He just told her he had traveled around Liberia. Doing a campaign, he didn't travel nowhere. He went to Nima one time and stayed in Ganta and came home. That's that. The people did the work. Because Atta would call them the sophisticated rogues, because they had tested power before, and they have tested stealing with impunity before, and they knew when they came back, they would take everything. So when Liberia rise, when you have a true leader in leadership in Liberia, there will be no green day, no blue day, no yellow day, especially when you are seeing pop of young people laying on the sidewalk, mothers begging for food. You spend 90,000. And I want to send this message to my son, Martin Colley. I remember when Martin Colley was struggling with CDC, when they were standing up. I also remember the day of the election, the Soup Children 2017 lined up from City Hall all the way down to the Election Commission office because they did not want the UP people to steal the election in 2017. Brandon Samuga gave order. You don't know he's an American resident or citizen. That if they saw anybody in the street, they were going to deal with them. He said it live. The U.S. Embassy called them. We got called. We got text to find our location to see where we would be, told to stay indoor, make sure we're available if they needed to get us out of the country. Facts. Because when you go home, if you're a U.S. citizen, you're a resident, you go, if you make sure you register in line and let the people know where you will be, phone number that you will be at. When you get there, you report. So they text us. We are came to power. I see Jefferson Koji then giving speeches. Jefferson Koji and my son, we are cool now, but I will tell you this. You all remember, and I still have that video. You all remember that young man who car was parked in front of Jefferson Koji, where they say he gave order and they beat up that journalist. He was bleeding, and we pick it up. So we give power to these people, and they abuse us. Then we bring them back. Then they abuse us again. And then we look at it and say, there's no use. We can't move ahead. You know, I was listening to John F. Kennedy today. And now I listen to Theodore Roosevelt, the man in the arena. But I listened to John F. Kennedy about going to the moon. When the American people say it was not possible, right now where we are, we can't go. And he said, I know it's hard, and that's why we must do it. I know it will not be a small journey. We are going 200 and some more thousand miles away from the earth. That's why we must. He said, we go to the moon because it's hard. We can do that and do the other things. Meaning we can do on multiple things. We can multitask. We can change our environment. That's why when I hear people, Mandela said, it's still impossible until it is done. We have done it. Whoever thought the cloud that South Africa had, or the white people had on South Africa, it was ever going to change. It's the one young man who gave everything he had. He let go his family. Family have to move out of the country as he fought for his nation. Mandela, Salisu, Walter Salisu, Steve Biko. You think about it. You think about all the names. When you talk about Amanda, way to Amanda, I studied Pan-Africanism. I actually teach it. And it was undermined. When you talk about the Garvey of the word, when you talk about these people. And then I listened to us in Liberia. When somebody tell you will never be anybody. The person will never be this. The other person will be. I'm sitting right here. Last night, I had an opportunity to speak to about 200 individuals, Liberians, and friends of Liberia, PhDs, entrepreneurs, people from different enterprises, lawyers, engineers, mothers, students, accountants, all of these people. And at the end of after my speaking, I was speaking about when women rise up, how that shape a nation. Because we're what? The first teacher of humanity. Because we are protectors, because we are nurturers, because we are negotiators, because we are nurses, because we are doctors. That's what I was talking about. When Liberia finally decide they will leave from the doctrine that they're in, the first they have to stand. You know, about maybe 10 weeks ago, people were on the edge. We're still on the edge in the United States. Donald Trump will go for the Tehran. He will go for Tehran. Steve, when Bernard got on radio, they were arrogant. We're going to implement their, whatever they call it. And when America, the same people who voted for him saw that. See, this is how democracy works. Democracy works when the people are informed. Democracy works when the people stand up. Democracy works when the people know their rights and responsibility. Democracy works when the people understand that person is working for them, that they're not doing you a favor. Waka was supposed to be the bridge, the connector, the building glue. He had lived almost to 90. I don't care about your age, what you're saying. I personally know Mr. Barkley, who grew up in Waka, went to school with him, elementary and middle school with him. That he was old, Waka was older than him. I know Mr. Barkley is a deacon in our church, and he's a family to us. Not only that, okay, he's a little person like me. I'm almost 60 years old. A lot of people think I'm 35, I'm 40, like that, or 45. But I'm almost 60. We're little people, so we carry our way well, especially at this point that he has wealth, that he can fly all of Liberia, go to Ghana, get plasma, that we update his blood, get his heart massage, his organ massage, get freshen up and come back, maybe sleep in some incubator, get some air in his lungs, open his lungs with. Because when you have money, you can do these things. When you have money available to you, the technology is available. And if you have complication, you can do that. He has the money. Okay? I'm going to continue to talk. You know, last night, like I told the people, speaking the truth in this age is very dangerous. It can be very lonely. I know one thing, that people who know me, who truly know me, will never step against me. They know where I stand. Okay? Even on my job, people know where I stand. I will learn, I will do my job, but I don't case up. I just don't. This is this old man, and I want you to listen. He said he's not part of the establishment, but he told all of us, like I started telling us, I remember years back, 2017, in the second round, when Mr. Cummings asked him what did he want for him. Okay, he said he wanted money. Mr. Cummings gave him money. He never said it. I see some of y'all coming on, all of y'all, Bwaka daughter, Bwaka son, Bwaka this. 2017, I didn't see y'all anywhere. We were here. We stood up for him. In fact, Bwaka was like a father to my late brother, Dr. Emmanuel Dolo. That's how close we were. I hosted him, I stayed dinner for him, escorted him. Okay? If somebody would clean, I would be cleaning. But the second round, when people reach out to me and say, yeah, this is your pops. Even my mother reached out to me. You know, some people have principle. From 2017 to 2022, I saw a different person, a man who is desperate, that will compromise everything. Let me tell you something. My brother, my late brother, Dr. Emmanuel Dolo, hey, Steve, hey, Patient, hey, Sister, Cold, Brother Emmanuel, Aminata, guys, welcome, please share. You know, my brother told me, I've gotten mad with my brother when he moved to Liberia to work for Asla Mattel, and Ellie wanted him to come and work for her. And I had said to him, no. Because my brother had gone to Liberia, hired by the United Nations to rewrite the new social policy because they were in the Reconstruction era. When he wrote that policy and gave it to them, they wanted him to make some adjustment. My brother, I was very close. Anybody who knew us, they say in every family, people are 2 and 2. But I want to play this. This old man right here. These people ask all the right questions. Liberian journalists, y'all need to listen. These are professional people. They understand. They did their homework. They did their research. They're not from Liberia. You don't see them yelling. They're having a conversation. They're interviewing. And they come and ask, is there an establishment already in Liberia? Indeed, there is. So I'm going to come back just a touch. Although he's telling us yes, there is an establishment. Let's go ahead and listen.
We are running a tribal ticket.
What?
Tribal.
Most of the people cannot afford to leave.
Well, we have just about 2 minutes. That's a question I wanted to ask.
All right.
Many years back, I reviewed a book written on Liberia. And I know that in Liberia, there's an establishment, a very powerful establishment.
There is.
I don't want to go into the details
I know.
on TV. Where do you stand in relation to that establishment? And is it true, as alleged by your critics, that you are running a tribal ticket? Tribal, ethnic.
Oh, no.
And you keep complaining about the Congo people.
If there's anybody I complain about the action.
Go. I want you to listen. If you listen to that man, I'm going to put the particular video on my page. You can go ahead and listen to it. When the man said, there's a Congo and he was about to elaborate, he cut him off. He came in. Or first he pretended that he didn't hear. Papa Bwaka has very sharp ears. And he preempts. He does. If y'all listen, the day that he appeared on 50-50, when they asked him, when he had the heart problem, and they were doing the CPP stuff, and he said, the moment the Team Max opened his mouth, they have already planned that they were going to disclose that, and they didn't want people to dig out because the people have been denied. Okay. One thing that all of us must understand is, folks, thank you again for tuning in while we're growing the page. Thank you. It's Sunday evening. I'm here Sunday evening, Saturday morning, Tuesday evening, and Thursday evening. Monday through Thursday, I will, on my way to work, we'll have a 10-minute chat. I love to talk about 10 minutes. And that 10 minutes is growing because I'm getting 4,000, 5,000 followers. Okay. Let's grow it. But this is not, the 10 minutes is done on my personal page. On my personal page, you can follow me. I cannot accept any more friendship, but you can, however, follow me. The reason I got at least maybe 10,000 people send me request, I can accept you. But on this page, you can just jump on this page. I'm going to put this page in the body line, or you're on here, find it. And there also, I'm going to pull my YouTube. I need to create a new YouTube. This one, I can't find the information for it. So there is a problem with that. Okay. We apologize to all of you. I put it down, and I because the first one, they hacked it and took it out. Okay, so this is Papa Bwaka, but I also want to come. Everything, every question that we're asking, okay, those questions still stand today. Queen Johnson beat up a young man, grabbed him, until a few days later, he passed. We make her a deputy director, although she does not even have a high school certificate. She can barely pronounce right and stay drunk. I'm saying it. She will come by and cost me, and that's fine. Okay, here we go. So let's go back here. I want to play this other video with Papa Bwaka telling us why we are where we are. They know the issue. They know the issue because they can articulate the issue. But once they have given power to change the lives of the people, they take the money back and put it in their hand. They take care of themselves and forget about the people. I saw a write-up that a young man tagged me on it. Now, the question is, and I'm going to be asking this question all week, say no to drugs. What did we do? We busted the appetite. Okay? It's sad for me to say, but those are people, those are Liberians. That's an epidemic. Hey, Mark. Okay, it's an epidemic. It's a mental health problem. When you are in a country where there's no job, there is no hope. Thank you, Milton. That's my oldest brother. Okay. When there's no hope, when people are hopeless, yes, people will self-medicate. And once they start, it becomes a command and a demand of the body, becomes a mental health problem. All right. And it needs to be addressed appropriately. Okay. It requires hope, reason to wake up, reason to give that up. Okay. But we are not doing that. So let me play this. Our old man knew that we need help, that we spend money we don't have, that we are donor dependent, that we are not disciplined when it comes to money. But guess what? He been out of the country 30 times. When America was building her country, she was not running around the nation. She didn't even participate in things. During World War I, America stayed neutral. They isolated themselves, isolationism. That's what it was. But guess what they did? They built themselves up. They even put their women at the time where women were not allowed to go into workplace. You know who built the bombs in World War II? American women. You know who harvests the cottons and manufacture it? American women. That have America created her middle class. World War I, they stay out. Although they supported the Allied forces, okay? They supported the group on the side of Russia and all of those places. They did. Why they build themselves up. You see the young man in Burkina Faso? He's literally following the footsteps of Pep John-Hee. Okay? I think that's his name. Mr. Park from South Korea. That's exactly what he did. That's exactly what the people in Singapore did to focus on their country. You have a president that leaves every 3 to 4 weeks, sometimes 2 times in 1 month, and took a whole group with them, spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. The money, the 3 trips that Baka made, you could build. If they're truthful to us, you can hire Liberian young people like being done in Burkina Faso. You know what America did here during the reconstruction? They hired over 10 million young people between 18 and 25. Like South Korea did. They send their people to the war front, their nurses and people who understood logistics. As they paid them on the war front, they gave them 25% of their salary. The rest they sent it to the country, and the country invested it with the goal that when they invested, although the country was using it to invest to build the country, when they came back, they would have money to live off of. That's what they did. Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore, he had a plan. When the world was throwing money and said, oh, we will do that, he said, no, my land too small. Singapore is literally the size of Liberia. But look at the budget. They have no natural resources. You got everything. You have the human capital. You have the intelligence. Liberian young people graduating by the droves, no job. Just to go hang up the certificate on zinc wall. Some of them with no ceiling. You live in a country that you get a position. You're making 10, 20,000 in a nation with 64% of the population. Okay? Living below the poverty line, abject poverty. You, the people who hire you to work for them, give you the money back to divide. You take your divide on yourself and leave the rest of the people. When they turn, they say, "Oh, that old man. Oh, that old man." It's like when I go to church and somebody say, the people say, God say you must not touch the anointed, do the prophet no harm. And I always ask the question, how do you know I'm not God's anointed? You know why David never touched Solomon? Because David knew Saul. Saul was God's anointed. But Saul did not recognize that David was God's anointed. That's the problem y'all have with y'all the church. They wear the robe, so you recognize them because they're open. They're there. So when they tell you, you follow. But if you have the spirit of discernment, if the pastor that's talking to you and the other person, the pastor himself understand and recognize, we know that person is also God's anointed. And that's the problem. Yes. So when Ellen called my brother to go be advisor to her and Boaka, I had a problem. But one thing my brother told me, he said, when Ellen asked him, he asked her a question. You fought all your life. You gave her your Senate seat. So Liberia can be different. And you are in the power now. Why? And he said, she was kinder with him. And I'm going to say their life today, my late brother. We were very close. This is where he stayed. This is where he battled his cancer. The room is right over here. That I would dress him. Before it got really bad, he would have to go to work and come back because we were in the States because when the child was in Liberia. Right here. I would dress my brother up, cover him up while he had meeting with Ellie and the rest of the world. As he was doing chemo, fighting for his life. He loved Liberia. And he said to me, he said, Ellie told him, he said, anything that you go after for a very long time, you make compromises. And sometimes you don't get to deliver. The first thing that you conceive, the first idea, it gets diluted. Y'all listen here to this, oh man. Y'all listen. I want you all to listen here. This is Boaka right here. I'm going to play this, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go off in a few minutes. I got to go get ready for I got it. This is Boaka telling us about our economy. We're living beyond our means, above our means. We're taking what we don't have. There's never money. On this debate, I think you, Bronsky, were on point. Mr. Cummings brought in solution, in-depth solution. Bronsky added that. But I'm going to go back to what you said. I would play, I would create, you know what I would do? I would do a video of just them speaking. Okay? Just the part of them speaking. That's what I'm going to do. Listen up.
Some estimates, the question again, some estimates have put the budget deficit at about 8.5% of the GDP. This deficit, as you know, affects the operations of government. What specific plans do you have to address the repeated budget deficit so that the government runs smoothly?
I think my government will insist on a balanced budget. If we lack fiscal discipline, spending out of budget is irresponsible. And you know very well, I think we too donor dependent.
Do you hear that?
Everything we want must come from the donors. I have always said an overprotected child cannot be self-reliant. Liberians have the resources. We should use those resources wisely. We don't have to go to people to look for money if we manage our resources well.
You all hear that? This is 2017. This is our old man talking to us. Liberia has money. But today, when you talk, the people will tell you, the papa have to go hustle. Those who build the country, it was not about hustle. They plan, they organize, they execute. They plan, they organize, they execute. Or they organize, they plan, they execute. Those are people who want to change. You see, Tuere, you see what John McAfee did in Tanzania, the woman came and undermining it. In less than 90 days, John McAfee set the tune where his nation would be, where he wanted to impact. John Mahama is doing exactly that in Ghana right now. When John Mahama just went to Japan, he chronicled what they've done. His team, very endowed. He is a king and amplified that. Gave data and statistics what has changed in 6 months of his reign. From there, other countries saw he was serious. Singapore contacted him and said, we're going to build a tech village in your country. We will build a university. You can pay all of the people in the world to give you accolades, to recognize you. Yeah, you got money. To send you invitation to go from country to country. There's always some sort of workshop, masterclass going on. We see travel conducting. Zoom are good. I conduct legal education businesses every month via Teams. Parents, state, psychology, psychiatry, counselors, administrator. Every month, maybe one or two every month throughout the year via Teams. Where we used to say go to meeting or Zoom kind of, I will do. We don't have to meet you. Before, everybody have to meet on site. But this is 2025. It's convenient. It's cost effective. It's time effective. Okay? You don't got to drive anywhere. You don't. So let's go here. Listen to him. So he knows we live above our means. This old man knows we live above our means. Okay? Now, let's go ahead. Let's play again.
Some estimates, the question again, some estimates have put the budget deficit at about 8.5% of the GDP. This deficit, as you know, affects the operations of government. What specific plans do you have to address the repeated budget deficit so that the government runs smoothly?
I think my government will insist on a balanced budget. If We lack fiscal discipline. Spending out of budget is irresponsible. And you know very well, I think we too donor dependent. Everything we want must come from the donors. I have always said an overprotected child cannot be self-reliant. Liberians have the resources. We should use those resources wisely. We don't have to go to people to look for money if we manage our resources well. I'm happy that my counterparts, they always calling my name when they speak. Experience. Thank you.
And Brunskin there with that. Brunskin there with that. Brunskin make sure he answer that. Okay, Brunskin dealt with that. I won, and I'm gonna go to Brunskin, so he answered that. Okay, Brunskin dealt with that, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to that. But I will finish up. I will finish up with this. Okay, so I'm gonna move here. Our government official trying out of the countries is solely based on DS. Well, no, they're not doing anything. They're not bringing anything back. They're not bringing anything back. It's all about them. It's a legal way of stealing, Brother Emmanuel. It's a legal way of stealing. They say the travel, that's the travel expenditure, the travel expensive, that's for it. So they're collecting as much as they can collect. Because most of them they make more money just being out there. Okay, the president's wife, Lord have mercy. Okay, yes. So here we go. Yep. So I'm gonna go out here. I'm gonna show a few stuff I'd like to talk about. This again today I celebrate my sister Dr. Richardson. And I'm gonna pull this here really quickly. What Obama once said. This is Obama. Where am I? This is Obama. President Obama said, even in the face of impossible odds, those who love their country can change it. This is our opportunity. Dr. King put everything on the line where people thought it was impossible. There were less than 20 million Black people in this country with no power. They weren't even considered citizens. Their life didn't matter. Nobody thought it was possible. But I would say in my Mandela voice, it would seem impossible until it's done. Okay? But even in the face of impossible odds, those who love their country can change it. We see that happening. Okay? And I'm going to come down to where Alexander Cummings said to us a couple of years ago. Hopefully I can pull it up. I thought I had it here. Where is that? Oh, I thought I pulled that up. Where is this? Okay, I will come back to that. I'm going to remove this. Okay. I'm going to put this here. All of this right here, these are government effects. Agriculture, making sure the country is fed, defense, healthcare, education, energy, security, environment. Okay. These are all government effects. Okay. These are all government effects. But I'm going to pull this. I'm going to put this really quickly and see where we are. And then I'm going to call it a day. But I wanted to bring to you Brunskin, what he said to Bouaka. Okay? Brunskin, what he said to Bouaka. When Bouaka said, people say, I have experience. You can work in the department for 80 years and contribute nothing, especially in a country where people are not accountable, where people are not evaluated based on success. If you live in a place, in a government that have not been audited for 20, 30 years. I remember, I think it was 86, when PricewaterhouseCoopers were coming to Liberia to audit us, they burned down the finance ministry. Yes, finance ministry got burned. So when they talk about burning building in Liberia, that's not the first time. We also saw that they burned the mansion. And we've been paying, I don't know how many $1 million a year for the last 20 years, and it's still not done. The president is still living in his house. We have to fix it. So we fixed Ellie's sister house. And I know it was right after the war. We fixed Weah house. We fixed his vice president house. Now we fixed Boaka house. We extended the place. He bought most of the people that were around him there. Fixed his VP house. All of that. But the Liberian people are still living in zinc shacks and in mud houses. Now, let me put here where Mr. Commissioner right here. Okay, Alexander Cummings. For things to really change in Liberia, in this country, for things to really change in our country, we must not just change ruling party. We must change ruling principle, if that is something that we have. Okay, Edwin? Yes, that's what we need to do. Okay, and I'm going to end this. I'm going to go back on this video and I'm going to play that. You know, yesterday I spoke at an event. Ed and Mr. Freeman, Mr. President, thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you people. We still need to talk. Okay, I will do, as I said. I had a speaking engagement last night. It was beautiful. We had a wonderful time. And I'm glad I was a part to, it was actually a reflection for me, or coming home for me, retrospection for me, or not retrospection, but introspection for me. And that's how I saw it. Now, I don't know how long I've been on here, so I need to go ahead and get out. I don't want to stay more than an hour. So if I've been here for more than an hour, I'm going to call it a day. Okay. So now I'm going to play this puppet. I'm going to let him land. And actually, I'm going to go to Brunskin. All right. I'm going to go to Brunskin and hear his response. Folks, these videos are out here. To hear what these people told you before and their action after, it means a lot. It means a lot. Okay? Leaders who do not walk their talk should not be respected. Should not be respected. I'm saying that. You are not a leader. You're a liar.
What measures will you propose to rein in the running, especially with the running of the government regarding this salary payment?
Well, I think I partly answered that question earlier when I talked about the reduction of salaries of the top few people. Because you see, this recurring expenses, it's not by the guys at the bottom of the scale, it's by those guys at the top. Okay? So we start by reducing salaries at the top and make sure that we are careful with how we purchase things on behalf of government. The Sally Boaka administration, starting 2006, spent millions of dollars every year purchasing vehicles. Not one time they can tell you, say, when vehicles that were purchased and depreciated were sold and the salvage value was reclaimed and placed in government revenue. So what we've been doing, spending money on vehicles for the big shots, After the vehicle are set to depreciate that, they take them and government buy new vehicles for them. Those are the things that we will stop. Look at gasoline fuel, for example. You got all of these big shots receiving gas slips, totaling millions and millions of dollars. There is no audit. The legislature presided over by the speaker cannot tell you when last they were audited. They received.
I want y'all listen up to Brunsky. This is my pops. My husband was one of the founding members in the state for Liberty Party. Those days when Brunsky was. Let me explain to y'all. Did you just hear? There have been no audits. Remember when Musa brought up about audits, and Fernando Kofa consented to it, brought all the problems. It brought down even the Capitol building. Although none of those people were in charge, although the days before, okay, people have protested, were beaten. The Capitol building was seized and guarded by the Liberian National Police, Gregory Coleman and his group, and his Richard Kuhn and his people in the Bwaka group. And the day the place burned, Bwaka showed up with Jeremiah Kuhn and said it was hooligan that burned it down, with no investigation, knowing that and understanding that Liberia do not have people who are specialized in fire arson or fire science for that matter. No CIS people there. There were no investigation. The play were not covered. It was not secure for investigation. They just profile and pin up people because those are the people they wanted to take down. So here we go. No audit. We buy the car, we give it to them. They tell you the car's poor, but they take the sport car and get new ones. Those are people that you brought in to change your life. Why would they change your life? You just saved them. They don't need to build the roads. When they are coming, you must move from the road. One of my little brother came from the States and were in Liberia working during the campaign. They said some big person was coming and refused to move from the road because he was on the right side of the road. If you do not want people to travel there, if the president of the United States is coming or somebody is coming, because we are what lawmaker, all of our draft, the rule applies to us. Because you lawmaker, you're not above the law. You don't cross over. Even police director, you don't cross over. Emergency vehicle, when they're in pursuit of emergency, they put on the siren. That is, it's not all of the time. We and the police go the same direction when they go into work, when they go, unless there's an emergency that they must answer. And they give you warning for you to pull over. It's not a continuous stuff. It's not every day. Okay? So they abide by the rules. They abide by the rules. Now, here is he's talking. So they tell you the car is bad, but they take it. Why would they want to open factory in Liberia when they can get a contract to some Lebanese person, okay, and they can get their money on the back end? So let's listen to Brunsky. Me, I will listen. You'll listen to Brunsky. I love what he said.
If millions and millions of dollars in gas slip, that's going to stop. That's going to stop. I would like to have government gas distribution centralized, where instead of giving gas slips, people can go to gas station. You go there, you take your vehicle, you put the mark.
So let me tell you something. I'm going to pull this. I'm going to make my suggestion. Yeah, it is. My husband worked for the state of Georgia. Okay, let me tell you something. That's a big job. My husband's a structural engineer. They have GSA, their own little carpool. They use the cars to go to work. If they leave the state or they're within the state, Georgia got, I think, 180 counties. Okay? It's a huge place. It got 10 million people. If you're going to be going more than, I think, 200 miles, is that it? Is that about? You're going to go more than 2 hours. You have the option of taking a plane or taking a car from the carpool. They will put gas in the car. They will not give you money. You will sign on the car. You will sign on what matters is on it. the thing will be filled. If you use any money of your own that you have to refill, you got to bring back the receipt and turn it in to whoever it is in the accounting department. And it will pay out your money at the appropriate time. Okay? They take the plane, they are pilots. You got to put in way advance for it. They don't give you a car. Our lawmakers don't have cars. They don't give them cars. They're not CEO. They want to change the life of people. When you go to Washington, even when you go to our capital here, when you enter one lawmaker office, it's just that when you go to school here, right? You go to the school. If you're not teacher, most American public institutions, the layouts are the same. The doors are paired, okay? Your entry door, and you will share a door with at least one teacher. There's a reason. Number one, if a teacher needs to use the restroom, there's another teacher that can stay in the middle of the door. Also for safety issue, okay? If somebody key and there's a hard lockdown and the person is on the other side, you can go through that door and take your kids out. You will have a door that has a window, another that does not have a window. But once you enter one door, the layout are the same. It's just like when you enter Kroger, all of the Kroger layout are the same. Maybe they will move some things around. In public, the same. They're not trying to confuse people. But why would the people change anything for you? You're not holding them accountable. You're worshiping them. I see some stupid person, very stupid person. I will call you stupid. And that Wiankoi person have been very stupid. He comes on my post every time and writes stupidness, looking for attention. You are stupid. If you see that in your country, your people are suffering, and the very people that came to work for them, change their lives, they're running back and forth, and somebody speak on it, and you come and say you will never be anybody. My dear, I already somebody and old. I'm almost 60 years old. Where am I going? The last I checked, your name was now God. You come to show up to look for attention. Go now, and I acknowledge you. Go get your $5 car, calling car. Or go show you and say she stopped and talk about me. I did. Let me continue here with Bronsky. Okay, so we can hear. Folks.
Take the mileage of the vehicle. They give you 10 gallons of gas. We know that 10 gallons of gas will take the vehicle's X number of miles. You're coming back. Before you reach X number of miles, you're not going to get the gas. Okay? Those are small, simple means by which we can cut down the recurring expenses of government. But since I still got time, let me talk to Joe's issue about having experience.
Yeah.
You know, so experience is not enough. Your experience must be good experience. Okay? I serve in government, and I don't want to be mixed with him. I serve in government as the president pro tempore of Liberian Senate. I'm one of the few government officials who were asked to leave government, not because I was corrupt, not because I was inefficient, but because I was advocating for Liberian people, and my way of doing things was different from that of the government of the day. So I don't want the vice president confusing me and him when it comes to experience. Experience are different, okay? My experience is a good experience that Liberian people need to run this country.
So I'm here. Folks, I started this conversation with Alexander Cummings, the greatest story ever told. The greatest Liberian ever to ascend on the international business scene. If he was a Nigerian or Ghanaian, Ghana people would knock their chests. Today, the news will carry him. The greatest Liberian businessman ever on the international scene. This is Alexander Cummings. Like my papa, any day, every day, any time. Yes. Why is it doing this? Okay, this is Alexander Cummings. He was honored this year, the beginning of this year, by, I believe, what, Clark Atlanta University, or historic Black university in the United States. He supports education endeavor. I can put my neck on the line. All of the universities, especially the private universities in Liberia, Mr. Cummings has a scholarship there. He gave it, and the people apply for it and they get it. Most of them don't even know. I wish he can do it differently. Let there be an office there that represent him at that college, that when they go, they know that, and it's when time to award the scholarship, that he himself is there with his face on it to give it. This is Alexander Cummings. How I started is how I'm going to close. This is how I started. And before I go with close with Mr. Cummings, I'd like to talk about my girl a little bit too. This is my girl right here. My sister on this journey, Dr. Richardson. I will close with Mr. Cummings, but I'd like to talk about Dr. Richardson a little bit. My time here, I think I've been here more than 1 hour. I'm gone. Folks, I still have to educate. I have a video I posted on Mr. Cummings. So right now I'm doing the show. Okay, I get it. So let me go. Okay, me and Dr. Richardson last year on her birthday. Was it on her birthday? No, we're at the beach in the Virginia. This is she and her grandson. It is their birthday together. We were having a blast on the beach. Yes, let me see how far we're going here. There we go. The girls are hanking out. I missed that, man. Here we go. There we go. Shop, shop. Beautiful women, smart, brilliant, accomplished mothers, wives, granddaughters, sisters, friend. There we go. Whatever we're talking about, the dolphins were right in the back of us. They were coming into the ocean. Look at us. Can you tell? This is what almost 60 look like. This is that. That's us right here. Yes, Dr. Richardson. I was celebrating my girl last year around this time. There we go. There go my girls. That's my middle girl right there. That's my mini me. I don't want to talk about Dylan today. So, Doc, happy birthday. Love you, love you. It's not a question that I love you. You already know I love you. So I'm going to leave that here. So now I'm going to go to Alexander B. Cummings. Okay. I did I'm going to play this again. The greatest story ever told. The greatest Liberian businessman. This man came to us. And he told you're giving the country, Coca-Cola, give me the business. I build it back and left it good. Added more jobs. Pillsbury was going bankrupt. They have proposal by General Mills to buy them. They give it to me. I fix it. I give it back and it still exists today. I don't want anything. I don't want you to pay me. You're giving the country. Let's fix it together. Let's change our direction. I've done that. Liberian people say, no way, eat your money.
Now it's
and
time
we'll
for our
vote
third
because
keynote
you
speaker,
this, you that. Here we
who
go.
is a heavy hitter, a major heavy hitter, one of the most important corporate executives in the world. He is the Senior Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer of the Coca-Cola Company, which I'm sure you've all heard of. He is the former head of the Africa Group at Coca-Cola Company. Many functions.
You hear that boy
report
voice? Are you
directly
talking?
to his
That's the
office,
powerful man that he's
as
talking
in
about. Yeah,
strategic
you hear his
planning,
voice?
as
Yes.
in people functions, as in research and development. As the former head of the Africa Group, he has been traveling extensively in Africa. He's just told me that he's returned from Nairobi, from Lagos, from a trip to Johannesburg. So he's still very connected to the continent. He was
Yes.
born in Liberia and is our third keynote speaker, Mr. Alex Cummings. Great honor to introduce him.
There go my pops. Yes. Super proud of him.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is a horrible slot, by the way, and at the end of the day. Let me start with a Chinese proverb that says, when the wind blows, some people build walls and some people build windmills. And I think everybody in
Did
this
you
room
hear
here
that? When the
are gonna
wind
build
blows, some
windmills,
people build walls,
given
some
the
people build
change
windmills.
happening in Africa.
Those are the progressives.
As I said earlier, this is
Those
a
who are
tough
forward
slot to be in,
thinking.
following Ashish this morning, whom I've heard of, like many of you didn't get to know, but he gives very good energy. Tough to follow him. Mrs. Alakija, tough to follow. And then the women's panel, I don't know who stayed here for that, but it's tough to follow a bunch of African women. The good news is that one of my homegirls was on the panel, Saran Kaba-Jones, who's sitting up here to give me moral support. So we've got all of our Nigerian brothers and sisters here. We are outnumbered, so. But it's good to be here. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to, my consolation for having this slot is the fact that I get to talk about Coca-Cola, which I like to do. And I also get to talk to a lot of young, smart, innovative Africans and Africanists. And I enjoy doing both of those things. My presentation is going to be very short. And then I'll open it up for questions and answers and comments and any suggestions you have about how we can make Coke even bigger and better. I'm all ears. So a few slides to take you through. In trying to get ready for this conversation, I came across this quote from President Kagame of Rwanda, and he tweeted it from Davos apparently. And it says, the best thing we can do for ourselves is own our own problems, own our own solutions, and write our own stories. What a powerful quote. And I think it speaks to all of us here in this room, I hope, in the sense that the idea of this conference of innovating is to innovate around real problems that are challenging Africa, finding solutions, and writing our own stories. We do not and should not be defined by others. We need to define ourselves and define who we are. And I think it speaks to this conference. I think it speaks to all of us in this room in terms of what we're trying to do. So look.
So did you hear that? Find a solution. That's that. So my time here is over, but I'm gonna bring this one too really quickly. That's him on the war stage. On the war stage. So I'm gonna play one more and then I will call it a night. I keep saying that. Mr. Cummings, happy birthday, my dear big brother, mentor. I am super, super proud of you. And you know that. Again, like I always say, when we are ready to do what is right, we know where to look, we know where to find. So this is, if you've never been, this is the Concordia. This is Mr. Cummings at the Concordia. Who goes to Concordia, you can go and find out. So I'm going to play this for you. And this will be my closing. Okay. So let me say to all of us, good night. Thank you for tuning in. I need to go get ready for tomorrow. Here we go. There we go.
Please welcome to the stage our moderator, Alex Cummings, and our esteemed panel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our moderator, Alex Cummings, and our esteemed panel.
Again, we have no copyright to this video.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alex Cummings, and I'm joined this morning by three accomplished and distinguished panelists. We only have 20 minutes for this topic, and so we'll quickly introduce ourselves and get ready to the subject matter. So, Kristen, would you mind introducing yourself very quickly?
Kristen Lord, President and CEO of the Global Education Development NGO IREX.
Rachel Duan, President and CEO for Global Growth Organization for General Electric.
And Andre Kalantzopoulos, Chief Executive Officer of Philip Morris International.
So to kick us off, I'm going to ask Christine to do two things. One is very quick summary of a survey IREX, our organization in Brooklyn, just completed, talking about P3s, public-private partnerships. It's actually titled Global Development Disrupted.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our moderator, Alex Cummings, and our esteemed panel.